Good evening. Heidi ho, everybody. Golly, let's take another shot at this. Since Wednesday night, my internet service provider decided it was way too heavy of a day for me to go live that night and said, bam, we're going to give you a break tonight. And I did not get internet service back until the following morning. So I have sincere apologies to all of you. Thanks for coming tonight for Friday Fire. I'm excited because there's so much to talk about. I know we were going to talk about some of the stuff on Wednesday, but we're still going to do it tonight. It's going to be good. Yes, Dallas Alice, love your new name also. In case you haven't seen in the chat, Dallas Alice is now nothing. Is it? Would you like me to say it the way that Brennan would say it? Nothing nefarious here. I say nefarious, but hey, what do I know? So I know we already went through the Donna Adelson verdict with the 10 minutes that my internet worked on Wednesday. So we are going to move on from that. I do have some comments about the jurors that have come forward and done some interviews. I don't know if you all have seen some of the individuals. Juror number 5, I believe, came forward. Juror number 6, and of course, the 4-person came forward. The 4-person, it's ironic. The 3 individuals that came forward literally sat 1, 2, 3. They were right next to each other. So I found that interesting. I didn't see the bald-headed man. He had another. I called the juror the nodder because he would nod like this from time to time. So I nicknamed him the nodder. He was sitting right next to note taker. The two of them, bald guy and nodder, I had caught in the lunch area, and they obviously had enjoyed each other's company, so that they were buds, I guess. And what else was I? Oh, and the young man that was the juror, he's decided to go into law. How cool is that? Golly. I think that's super cool. So, what else about the jurors? I didn't have a whole lot of notes or anything about what they had said. The 4-person, pretty much everything that she has said, I completely agree with. My faith is restored in our judicial system, seeing how these jurors were so professional and they took their job so seriously as a juror. You all don't know this, but one of the main reasons I have such a significant interest in the law is just a few months after my 18th birthday, I was called to serve jury duty. And I was 18 and it was a drunk driving case. So I was not a legal drinker at that point. And of course, I'm not a drinker anyway, so it didn't matter to me. Although when they did voir dire, I was grilled about, are you sure you don't drink? I'm like, yeah, I don't drink. It's not my thing. So, but being on I was on a criminal jury and a civil jury, and being on those juries really gave me so much insight into our judicial system, and that's truly where I feel like my love for law came, and it just has never gone away. So I'm so glad y'all are hanging out with me on this Friday night. We don't get to go to the Wilbur to see Turtle Boy and Auntie Deb. I'm a little, I have a little FOMO. I'm not even gonna lie. So do y'all think that Wendy's worried that she might get arrested? That she might be the next one? Anybody? I think she might be the next one. Of course, if you talk to the gentleman who has blown up everybody on Twitter, I don't know if you've paid attention to that at all. He absolutely positively believes that she is 100% innocent. And so I'm not on board with that. I think there's a clock ticking for Wendy, and it ain't a biological one, if you know what I mean. So yes, I think that she will be next. I really do think that she will be next. I'm not just saying that. All right, what is on my list? Let's get some updates of things that have happened this week on cases that I've been following and putting on TikTok and so on and so forth. So, Barry Morphew, he, as far as I can see, has not posted bond yet. So, he is still behind bars, even though they've lowered his bond. I shouldn't say they lowered it. They kept it the same dollar amount, but it is a cash surety property bond now. And so he can get out if he really had the resources to do that. I did not yet. I was trying to catch up on some of the live streams on my drive home from work today. So, but I did not. I have not watched the Justice Channel, the interview. I understand there is some very nefarious information that he shares that shed some light on why it would be important to Wendy outside of Donna and Charlie for Dan to no longer be in the picture. So I'm anxious to get my hands on that. I'm hoping I'll be able to listen to that either tonight or tomorrow. Yes, I think George is all about getting Wendy. When she said stay tuned, I was like, girl, I'm totally going to be staying tuned. You don't need to worry about that. Okay, so next on my list, we talked about Barry Morphew, that he hasn't posted bond. Ryan Ruth. Whoo, buddy. So Ryan Ruth is the individual that attempted to assassinate the president. He wasn't the president yet at that time on the golf course. I don't know. Do y'all remember this being in the news? It is a federal case, so there is nothing that we can see as far as live streaming. I just try to gather as much information as I can that's available, but I can tell you he's representing himself. We love when they do that, don't we? It's so entertaining. I love when they represent themselves. So Mr. Ruth is representing himself, and he is in front of Judge Eileen Cannon. And Judge Cannon does not mess around at all. And he was giving his opening statement. She stopped him a couple times and kind of corrected him about what he was allowed to bring in an opening statement, because he kind of just wanted to rant about political views and things like that. And so she stopped him several times. And then finally, she sent the jury out and questioned him some more about his opening statement. And then ultimately decided, Mr. Ruth, you're done. You get to sit your booty down because we're done. And that was the end of his opening statement. And they went on to starting to bring witnesses in and have them testify. So it sounds so far like the case is progressing nicely as far as evidence and witnesses. There's a gentleman that saw Ryan leaving the scene and knew what kind of vehicle it was, and he just felt that he kind of acted oddly, and so he paid attention and followed him. Oh, how do I find out? I just dig. I'm a nosy britches, which works out well for these types of things. So yeah, that's how I find out about the Ryan Ruth case. If you're going to search it on your own, his last name is spelled Routh. And so it sounds like Ruth, but it's spelled differently. Um, I'm debating on this one. I don't know. There's a part of me about Kelsey Fitzsimmons. I feel like I need to get out of the state of Massachusetts, y'all. I'm like, I feel like I need to start earning an income if I stay there in Massachusetts for much longer. So I haven't completely decided what I'm going to do as far as Kelsey Fitzsimmons goes. But I can tell you a couple other cases. Well, I should say one in particular. My plan is I'm just going to plant a little seed with all of you here. My plan is next week on Thursday to do a deep dive on the Grant Solomon death. And I don't think most of you will know anything about Grant Solomon. It is a case out of Tennessee. It's very tragic. It involves a local news anchor's son in the Nashville area. And so there are many tentacles that come out from this one death. And so if you all are interested, I sure hope that you'll come back with and hang out with me next Thursday, because I'm going to go over scene photographs and timelines and things like that. So I would love to get the word out on this particular case, because I feel like it just needs more and more sunlight on it. So that is definitely one that I just feel like everybody should have some idea about it, because it's very tragic. Yes. Poor mother and sister. You are absolutely correct. And hello, Tippy Toes. Good to see you as well on this fine Friday night. Yeah, sure, we're nosy. Totally nosy. I don't apologize for it. Hey, it's saved my tail several times. I'm good with being nosy. Nosy is how you get to protect yourself. You're asking, will it be on TV? I'm not sure, Christine Life by the Sea, what case you're referring to. So if you can put in the comments what case. 30-second overview on Grant Solomon. So yes, Grant Solomon was killed in an automobile accident in which his vehicle rolled over him and he was pinned underneath it and killed. The questionable things about his death are that he was 18 years old and surely would be able to get out of the way of his vehicle, his truck rolling in a parking lot. The second odd thing about it is that he was intending on testifying about some sexual abuse with his younger sister, Gracie, in reference to their father, Aaron. And so that kind of sets the stage. That's basically the 30-second overview. When you all see more of the information, more of the pictures, you're going to start having a lot of questions. This is a little bit like Ellen Greenberg. And we're definitely going to talk about Ellen Greenberg tonight. Oh, are we going to talk about Ellen Greenberg? I got to get a drink. Everybody sip whatever you're drinking. Or in my case, gulp. I didn't sip. So that's next Thursday is when I'm going to be doing Grant Solomon, and we will cover more of the details about that particular case. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, then there's that. Mom earlier this year was arrested for putting a hit out on her ex-husband, the father of her two children. So that's all part of the story too. So that's why I say there are lots of tentacles. So we will definitely be talking about that next Thursday. Bullet bourbon, you go, Dakota. Did you get that from Wendy? Okay, so the next thing on my list, oh, I need to tell you my O.J. Simpson story that I heard while I was at CrimeCon. Do y'all want to know about CrimeCon? Has anybody here gone to CrimeCon? Whew, it's a great time. It's a little tiring, but it's fantastic. It is just like tons of information. So the O.J. Simpson story, Beth Karras. Do y'all know who Beth Karras is? She is, her show right now is The Curious Case of. She covered the Natalia Grace bizarre 3 seasons of the little person Natalia Grace. So anyway, she happened to be in Florida when OJ was, I think, being acquitted of some sort of like road rage case or something like that. And his attorney and him asked her that if she would like to go to dinner with them. And she was like, sure, why not? And so they sat down at dinner, and she's got OJ on her left and she has his attorney on her right. And her food was the first one to come. And so she had her plate in front of her, and OJ immediately starts eating off of her plate. And she was a little horrified. I mean, who does that? Who just starts eating off of somebody else's? I mean, my husband doesn't even do that because I'm like, you're going to get stabbed. Which brings me to why it was really weird, because Beth Karras said, lots of people have asked me, did you say something and ask him to bring or let you have your plate of food? And she said, he had a knife and a fork in his hand. I wasn't saying a word. I thought that was a great, great story that she told. So had to share it with all of you. Hope you didn't get bored. Okay, before we get into Ellen Greenberg, I do want to talk about James Craig. Anybody remember James Craig? Dr. James Craig? So that particular session, I have to tell you, I sat in on it. Natalie Morales was the moderator for that session at CrimeCon. And I happened to get a very, very good seat for this particular session. I'm super happy about that. And sitting in front of me was Dr. Redfern and his wife. And right next to his wife was Detective Bobby Olson. So if you followed my TikTok or followed any of my updates that I did in July in reference to this case, you should know who those people are. But I'm going to let you all know who it is anyway, because I know that not everybody followed that case. It wasn't televised, so it made it a little harder to follow along. Dr. James Craig was convicted in July of poisoning his wife in a smoothie that she drank, like a protein shake that she drank in the morning. Part of the story is that he was a notorious philanderer. So he was never faithful to Angela, his wife, through their entire marriage. And so he decided he's going to, get rid of her, and poison was his choice. And so they had him on the King Super security cameras buying like a case of eye drops. Well, unless you followed the Jesse Krzyzewski case, you may not know, but eye drops have tetrahydrozoline in them. Tetrahydrozoline is extremely dangerous to consume orally. It's fine to drop it in your eyes, but you really shouldn't be drinking it in any way. That was his initial choice on how he wanted to kill his wife. So That didn't seem to work fast enough for him, so he decided to order. I mean, he's a dentist, so he figured he could get whatever he needed off of the internet, and he ordered potassium cyanide. The potassium cyanide was shipped to his dental office, and he instructed his staff there that he was expecting a package, but not to open it. As most office situations go, somebody didn't get the memo and opened the package anyway and found that it was potassium cyanide. She then alerted his business partner, which at the time was Dr. Redfern. Dr. Redfern then is rushing to the hospital because Angela is in such poor condition at this point, and he alerts the medical staff there what his suspicions are, both he and his wife. From that, of course, hospitals are mandatory reporters, and so they then went ahead and got the authorities involved. And that is ultimately how Dr. James Craig was kind of, I hate to say caught, but I mean, for lack of a better term, that's how he was caught. So fast forward, yes, people think they are so smart and they do dumb things, really dumb things, which is good for us because that means we catch the bad guy. So, from that, he's incarcerated. He tries to get his daughter to falsify journals. It's crazy town. But one of the things he also does while he's behind bars, awaiting trial, is he decides to put a hit out on the lead detective, which is Bobby Olson. And she was having no part of that. So that was just an additional charge that was added. He was found guilty of all of those charges. So, I'm looking at my notes to make sure I haven't forgotten anything. So yeah, they were right in front of me, which was very cool after following the case. And there was a lot of in-home video of the two of them just kind of going through normal day-to-day goings on, it's believed by the authorities the family forgot that their cameras were recording while they were in the house. So I thought that was interesting too. They hadn't paid the subscription in a really long time, so they thought that it wasn't recording. I shouldn't say they. I think old Dr. Craig thought there was nothing that was recording anything. And they had 6 children, and all the children are with Dr. Craig's brother now, since he has been convicted, and of course their mother is no longer with us. So that's what I know. That's kind of some of the stuff I learned at CrimeCon on the Dr. James Craig case. Let me consult my notes. What shall we talk about next? I have lots of other cases. Oh, Susan Smith. Before I go to Susan Smith, are you talking about the one where he basically he made her septic by injecting her with human waste? Is that the one you're talking about? Nothing nefarious here? Because I think that was in Dallas also. No, it's not that one. Okay. I did see Nate Eaton there. Yes, I did. A delightful man. I also saw Brian Enton. There was a great session that he moderated with the mom of the Portland Five. If you don't know about that case, you should probably look into it. She is a badass, and I adore her. Everyone should have a mom like Kristen Smith's mom, because she just was not going to stop at anything until she found out what happened to her daughter. So we talked a little about Alec Murdaugh. I sat in on the Fox Hollow Murders session. John Benet Ramsey session was a snoozer. I was really super disappointed in that particular session. Nothing new came out of it. It was disappointing and odd. His John Ramsey's attorney seems like he's too old and he's out of it. And it was like pitiful, honestly. Kelly Siegler's session was great. It was all about how they put their show together. And then the other one that I took the Portland 5, I took a lot of notes on that one. So if y'all want me to do a deep dive on that, just make sure you put it in the comments. And then the other one that I had a lot of notes on was the Fox Hollow Murders. So if y'all are interested in me doing more about those, just feel free to let me know. Right now, though, before we get into Ellen, we're going to talk about Susan Smith. Y'all remember this wackadoodle? This is the lady from the 90s that put her 2 little baby boys in the back of her car, strapped them into their car seats, and pushed her car into John D. Long Lake and let them drown because she wanted to have a boyfriend, even though she was married. Apparently that wasn't enough for her. So, Susan Smith. The session for Susan Smith was led by Tommy Pope. Tommy Pope is the district attorney that handled the Susan Smith case and prosecuted her. I can tell you, Tommy Pope is an absolute delight. He is entertaining, he's funny, he's engaging, wicked smart, and it was an exceptional session. It was probably my favorite session of the entire weekend. I did not. I only spent just a small amount of time in the expo area, so I didn't get a chance to see a lot of people. I did hook up, and I need to reach out to her, Gigi with Pretty Lies and Alibis about the Adelson case, but I don't know if anything is going to come of that or not. But anyway, so drink again, stay hydrated, y'all. And make sure you have a pretty cup for it too. I do. Gotta have a pretty cup. Okay. So Tommy Pope, he has committed to being at Susan Smith's parole hearing every 2 years when she comes up for parole. She has already come up for parole once. It was denied. Susan has a hard time keeping to herself. She insists on having sexual encounters with the staff in the prison. So, I'm sorry, I got distracted. That is like the true crime series of alcohol right there. Chasing my bullet bourbon with my White Claw. And yes, she does like the men. And that's kind of what I learned with this. I knew she was kind of loose, shall I say, but I didn't know she was quite as loose as I learned in this session. She, at the time of this incident, she was married to David. She was having an affair with another man. She was sleeping with that other man's father. Y'all heard me right. Father, who happened to be the owner of the company where she worked. I mean, let's just violate all ethics, just like that, right? So, And in addition to all of this, I learned she had a sexual relationship with her stepfather. And I don't think it was non-consensual, y'all. She's an icky, icky woman. Icky woman. Mm-mm-mm. So I learned that part. Um, she definitely played to the cameras. He gave several instances of her giggling and laughing and having a big time, and then all of a sudden the cameras would be on and she'd be boohooing and crying and having all kinds of issues, which I had always suspected of that, but I didn't know for sure until he absolutely confirmed it when with what he provided to us. The car floated for 6 minutes. 6 minutes. I didn't realize that. That's an insanely long amount of time. 6 minutes is an eternity. They learned that because they reenacted with the exact same car in the same location. The sheriff was totally playing into the defense. I did not realize this about the case. Tom Findlay is the love interest that she had at the time, and he didn't want any kids. So that's why she had to get rid of her kids, right? That's what you do, sure. Makes perfect sense. In fact, when she was on TV, she was wearing an Auburn University sweatshirt. That was Tom Findlay's sweatshirt. Are y'all feeling ick now? This woman. I shouldn't even say woman. Because she acts like a little girl. In the back of the car, I didn't know this either. Her wedding dress and her wedding photo album were in the trunk. So she was like syncing that with her kids. What in the world? Howard Wells was the sheriff. And yes, she said she heard them screaming for her when they were being kidnapped, but it was when they were in the lake in the car. Yeah. Yeah, she's a sick pup. Howard Wells was the sheriff, and he was so unkind to Susan's husband, David. After they had arrested Susan, poor David, he's from a different socioeconomic level than some of the other people Susan's family included. And they they were just he was just rude. The sheriff was just rude to him because he didn't feel that he really warranted any sort of attention, I suppose, in his lowly existence. So that was surprising to me too. I did not realize that the sheriff had been that off-putting. And ironically, the car they used for the test came off the exact same assembly line on the same day that Susan Smith's car did. I thought that was amazing, the one that they ended up getting. David did write a book. If you are all interested in it, all of the proceeds from the book that he wrote goes to charity. They've gone to charity for the entirety of the availability of the book. And while they were in the courtroom and the jury would be out of the courtroom, she loved all of the attention and the cameras and everyone fawning over her in her eyes. That's how she looked at it. And the minute that jury would come in, all got turned off. So she definitely knew exactly what she was doing. Phenomenal man. David is a phenomenal man to be able to deal with what he's had to deal with. It's ridiculous. Yeah. One last thing I was going to get into before we start talking all about Ellen Greenberg is I have a couple cases that are kind of on my back burner, but I'm definitely kind of following along as the cases progress. I just want you all to know this is definitely something that is on the bubble for me. Alexei Treviso, I've been following that one for a while, and now Laken Snelling. They're very similar cases. Both have to do with young ladies who claim to not have known they were pregnant or knew they were pregnant but didn't tell anybody, hid it, then had the baby, and I'm going to say disposed because I don't know any other way to say it. I will definitely be following the Laken Snelling and Alexei Treviso. I know the Treviso case is on some sort of appeal right now due to whether her statements while she was in the hospital are going to be admissible or not. I think once that gets settled, they'll end up setting some status hearings and we'll have some pretrial hearings in a court, and a trial date should be set then at some point, if they choose to proceed. And same thing with Laken Snelling. She has not been charged with unaliving her baby, but she has been charged with, I think, what is it? Not damaging a corpse kind of thing. That's kind of what they're at this point. That's what they're charging her with, and she's under house arrest in Tennessee. So we will keep an eye on those particular cases in addition to what is already going on. I'm going to be following the Turtle Boy hearing later this month. Laken Snelling has a hearing later this month. I feel like there's something with Brian Walsh coming up. I don't know. You know what? I have my dates in front of me here. Get your phone, Janet. Good grief. Yeah, Brian Walsh. Donna's sentencing will be October 14th, and then we've got Brian Walsh. There is a status hearing on November 3rd for Barry Morphew, and that'll take us right into to December with Courtney Clenny. And I have every intention of following that one. And also Sarah Grace Patrick, I'll be following that. Corey Richens is another one that I'll be following, and Mickey Signs. So if you've been following me for any period of time, on Sundays, I always do a quick little synopsis of basically what's coming up in the next 30 days or so. So follow along with that, and you'll know what's going on. You'll know what I'm going to be covering. So on to Ellen Greenberg. Are you all ready for this crazy case? Do you know anything about this crazy case? Is that a lot? Is it a lot? I'm trying to make sure that I stay on top of things. So I'm going to give you like a quick, let me check here and see in my computer. I don't think I did any sort of, no, I didn't. I thought maybe I had put a synopsis together or something, but I can give you the basics on it. This is something that Nancy Grace has been following relatively closely. This case took place in just completely true blank 2014, I want to say. I feel like it's been 11 years. I may have the date wrong. I can Google it while we're doing our business here. I think I can multitask. But anyway, Ellen Greenberg was found in her apartment in Pennsylvania. She was, 2011, January 26th, 2011 is when she was found in her apartment, deceased in her kitchen, sitting on the floor, kind of propped up against corner cabinets with 20 stab wounds to her body. And her fiance at the time was unable to get into the apartment. He claims that he had to break the door down in order to gain entry to the apartment. When he gained entry, it appeared that Ellen was making a fruit salad in the kitchen and decided to take her life by stabbing herself 20 times. Just that alone should make anyone go, what? 20 times? So that's kind of the basis of all of this. They originally ruled it a suicide. Then, like a month later, I want to say, sorry, my notes, it was really, really dark in the ballroom when this was going on. So, no, I thought I maybe had something, but I think it was March. They then decided to rule it a homicide. Oh, who'da thunk? And then it was only a matter of months after that that they then undid that and ruled it a suicide again. So this is still sitting since then as a suicide for manner of death. I don't know how you stab yourself 20 times as a suicide. I don't know how you have a perfectly clean white towel in your left hand. And I don't know why you would have it in your hand, in either hand, when you're committing suicide by stabbing, that you are clenching. It makes no sense to me. There was blood emanating from her mouth to her ear, which would indicate laying down, but she was found propped up in the corner of her kitchen cabinets. So lots of questions, right? There is, and I'm going to get this wrong probably. There is an individual that worked in the district attorney's office that has been given full immunity for what they know, because apparently there was a meeting that was called that made them they insisted on changing it from a homicide to a suicide. Ironically, Dakota, that's kind of what the issue is with this entire case. So her fiance is from a very well-connected family that lives on the main line in Pennsylvania. And in fact, his uncle is a judge in that area. The crime scene, I say crime scene, they didn't think it was a crime scene, but everything was cleaned up the very next day. In fact, a professional cleaning company came in and cleaned the apartment the very next day. His family, it definitely has the appearance that there is some connection to people in high places, from the district attorney to the attorney general to the governor of Pennsylvania. And it's rumored the governor of Pennsylvania's Governor Shapiro, there was at one time last year during the election that Kamala Harris was considering Shapiro as her running mate, and then that very quickly turned cold and no one heard anything, and she ultimately chose Tim Walz. It is suspected a lot of the reason that Shapiro was nixed on being her running mate is because of the Ellen Greenberg case. So there are a lot of odd and strange things. The knife, before I get into the knife, well, actually, no, I am going to tell you. The knife at some point was flipped. So, like, you know how you might the blade of the knife is here, and you slice this way. Somehow, in the midst of her stabbing herself 20 times to commit suicide, it got flipped the other way. I don't know why, but I think that's odd. Very, very odd. So that was one of the things. The aura around her spinal cord was actually severed at the C2 and C3 portion of the spine. And wait until you hear this one. There's a post-mortem stab wound. So literally she was already dead and then stabbed herself an additional time, but not the last time because she was found with the knife sticking out of her chest. What are we doing? None of this makes any sense to me at all. They didn't take her body temperature. They didn't luminol anything. They didn't check the fiance's story immediately to see if he really was where he said he was. He said he was in the gym downstairs for an hour. Nobody really knows for sure. They have some surveillance or some video of him in different places in the apartment complex. It was a luxury apartment. And the FBI did do a search of her electronic devices, and they did not find anything that suggested she had been searching how to unalive herself or searching on chemicals to do that or anything about depression or nothing. Nothing was found whatsoever. So now I want to show you, if you weren't baffled and puzzled before, I want to show you what the stab wounds looked like. And I forgive the quality. Please forgive me for the quality on this, but it was I took a picture in the presentation they were giving. So there you go. Are y'all trying to figure out how you can actually stab yourself in the back of your neck and head? And you notice that, do you see the angle that's happening here with I don't know if y'all can see my cursor, you probably can't. The angle of the knife wounds even going into the front of the chest. It absolutely does not make any sense. It defies logic. It's infuriating. I completely agree, Ava. It is infuriating that this could happen to anyone. I'm going to show you another angle that they presented in the session that I sat in, and that kind of shows you how is she getting this angle of the knife in her chest, and that it doesn't make any sense to me at all. I can tell you, after being there and seeing all of this, I did go and immediately buy Nancy Grace's book, And the only reason, there were 2 reasons I bought her book. One is, I did wanna see all of there was a deposition that was given by the, medical examiner, and I was very interested in that transcript. The other reason is all of the proceeds go to Ellen Greenberg's parents. She was an only child. She was the light of their life, and they are going bankrupt trying to fight the system on their daughter's death. And so I felt compelled to support and whatever I could do, I wanted to do. Um, New decision. Yes, that was not too long ago. I want to say just weeks ago that they changed the Emmy changed it to unknown or undetermined after, yes, the Greenbergs fought and fought and fought. Um, and yes, Tippy Toes, she was not very big at all. Um, and even if you are strong, you are not going to be able to do this. Everybody with me, try to take a pen and it, it is you can't get far enough back to have any sort of motion that is actually effective. It's absolutely preposterous. This entire case is infuriating to me. So, with all of that, that was the case I was super interested in. I wanted to make sure that I took as many notes as I possibly could. I'm so angry and sad for Ellen and her parents that they have had to go through this. Um, what the heck is wrong with the system in Pennsylvania? Like, what are we doing there? I mean, we talk a lot about Massachusetts. I get it, but unfortunately, corruption can land anywhere. If we learned anything during the Murdaugh trial and case, there was a whole host of corruption going on at that time. Um, so yes, um, and I want to say, I'm looking here. I believe that Ellen's father was a doctor also, so they were, they weren't wealthy, but they were well off anyway. Um, but you're spending all of your time and energy on trying to get justice for your deceased daughter. It's so sad. And oh, oh yeah, oh yeah. And when that house of cards came tumbling down, ooh boy, did it come tumbling down. It was big, 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 big. And so corruption can exist in a big way. So we just have to keep talking about it, and hopefully with enough people paying attention and watching and asking questions that we'll eventually get something done. That's a big part of the reason I want to do the Grant Solomon deep dive next week is I really want to get as many eyes as I possibly can on this case, because regardless of what his mother has done since his death, that doesn't negate the questions we have surrounding Grant's death. So guzzle time again, folks. um, so that kind of gives me. Do y'all have questions about the Greenberg case, or maybe something that I can? Oh, I forgot this part completely. She had tons of bruises on her body um, that were in different stages of healing or resolving, as they call it. And the knife that she used or was using was a Cutco knife. Does anybody know what a Cutco knife is? I don't do any cooking. My husband does all the cooking, and he's fantastic at it. But Cutco knives are very expensive, and they're a very high quality, high grade, um, but they're very slippery. The handle on them is very slippery. It's very smooth. There's nothing porous about it. It's not wooden or anything. It is a like polished plastic, and they're very slick if they're wet. So I I find that fascinating. Yes, and very sharp. Very, very sharp. Yes, they are. Um, it was a 4 to 5-inch blade, and a majority of it in one of the wounds was almost to the hilt, the where the blade and the handle meet. How do you do that to yourself? How do you do that to yourself? Crazy, crazy case. If anybody can do anything, financial support to the Greenbergs. I know if you go to Nancy Grace's webpage, there are ways that you can donate money to them for their cause. Funny question, Christine, Life by the Sea. Is Grant's dad in jail? No. His mom is in jail. Well, actually, she's out on house arrest right now. Um, But no, he's out to harass whomever he wants to. Yeah, I'll definitely make sure that I get a lot of information put together, so next Thursday I can do the Grant Solomon and Angie Solomon deep dive on all of that. What else? Y'all haven't been to CrimeCon, you said, right? I have an extra note on here. I got to tell you, it's a pretty amazing experience. So, and I also need to say, if anyone should ever see me IRL, please, please come say hello. I had someone, and I don't remember who it was now, that said she saw me at CrimeCon, but she was afraid to come say hello to me, and because she didn't want to bother me. Y'all aren't going to bother me. We'll sit around and chat about whatever you want to chat about. Hopefully crime stuff. So if you should see me in real life, say hello. You would scream if you saw me in real life. I did have to give an autograph out. I'm not lying. I was like very, very surprised. Is this who? That's not your name on TikTok. I'll say hi next year because Lizzle tired. Is that how we say that? Yes. Next time you see, and I have every intention of being there. It's going to be in Vegas next year toward the end of May. I will absolutely be there. Already secured my badge for the next time around. Yes, Vegas next year is exactly where it is. It is a very, very organized event. I'm not a big meet and greet kind of person. So I only did one, and that was really for somebody in my office. But they have several meet and greets during the entire time. Everything is clearly marked on where you need to go. They serve tons of food. So you have lots of different options to get something to eat. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. If you can figure out a way to get there, I say do it. Do it. Definitely do it. Any questions from anyone about anything in particular? Any suggestions? I've kind of run the gamut on what I had here, so we can kind of. Oh, I know something I was going to talk about because I had it on my Twitter today. Lindsay Gattani. That was Sarah Boone all over again. I couldn't do it. 91 pages? I got to 21, y'all. I couldn't. It was she's something else. That's too much. And Turtle Boy has all kinds of evidence that proves she's lying. What are we doing? Was the food only for people that hold the higher badge? No. So I only got, since it was my very first time, I got the lowest type of badge. And they had food trucks outside. There was a little coffee house thing that you could get snacks and coffee and different drinks. And then they had this really cool thing where they had these lines of tables, and on the tables they had prepared food, and you could get one box, and it was these choices, and it was $13, and there was another box you could get for $9. And you just went in the line, got what you wanted, and then went and paid for it. It was fantastic. So they had breakfast for a period of time, and then they had lunch for a period of time. So that's why I say it was very, very organized, beautiful facility. I had no doubt. I've been to the Gaylord in Nashville, so I had every anticipation that this would be the same or similar to it, I should say. But yeah, back on Lindsay. What do y'all think she's thinking and doing? I mean, it sounds like all of her craziness and her lies and is probably gonna screw everything up for her anyway. And they're not gonna be able to prosecute anything on Turtle Boy. That's what it looks like to me. She's got Cosgrove and Mello, and what in the world are we doing? Mm-hmm. 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 Yep. Yep. Has to be. There's got to be somebody in her ear telling her things that she thinks are going to, bode well for her. So yeah. And I did read, and I haven't gotten all the details on it, but I did see that Sarah Boone, it appears, has gotten rid of her appellate attorney. Lord, are we surprised? I'm not surprised. And yes, I did hear this. I haven't dug into the specifics on this, as to what sort of witness tampering they think they have. I don't know why you would need to keep her phone for that. You just download the information and give it back to her. Like, I'm baffled. Can someone tell me if there's a different reason? Because I'm like searching my memory bank and I can't think of any reason. You don't need to apologize for being late, Stephanie Slaughters. You can always watch it on with the replay crew. Spit it out, Janet. I think she could take it. I think Boone can take the Guinness World Record on alienating attorneys. And they all come in so positive and so sure they're going to be the ones that are going to fix it. It's going to be better. Never works out. It's crazy Sarah Boone. And all I can hear is poor George saying her name. Sarah. 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 I'm like, oh, poor George. If you didn't follow this case, boy, you missed a good one. All righty. One last thing, and then I will let you go and enjoy your entire weekend. I have every intention of watching a lot of football. Maybe spend some time outside. But next Wednesday, I will be on with Calling All Beings. I have been on with them before. If you don't know who they are, you need to find them. We're going to be talking about, y'all got to get ready for this, Amy Bradley. Y'all know who Amy Bradley is? That's what we're going to be talking about. It is myself, Lawfario, and gosh, I can't remember everyone. I'll follow me on Twitter and I'll give the update as to who all is going to be on that with DJ and Boston Bia. But I will also be on there Wednesday night. So there won't be a Wine and Crime Wednesday next week, but I will still be online for you all to come hang out. You'll just hang out with me and the others at Calling All Beings. Yes, nothing nefarious here. You're absolutely right. Cruise ship. Yep. Yep. I got lots to say about it. I got lots of ideas, but yes, that's what's coming up next week. So Wednesday is Calling All Beings. We're going to talk about Amy Bradley. Thursday, I will be back here and we're going to talk all about Grant Solomon and Angie Solomon in that case out of Tennessee. And we'll go from there and we'll see what the next week brings for us. I'm sure I'll have some updates on some of the court cases that I am following too. So with that, I do need to remind you all, be kind to each other. It does not cost a penny to be kind. It's been a rough week. It's been a really rough week. So take a deep breath. Know that things are going to be okay and will continue to get better for everyone. And as always, make good choices. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, share it, tell everybody about the fun you had here and the information you learned, and I will see you next time. Thanks for hanging.